Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Joining us now to lend his perspective on what top sellers do differently is Bob Kocis, who's a sales leader, and he's also a book author of an incredible new book, The President's Club Mindset, Inside the Winning Strategies of Tech's Most Successful Salespeople. Thank you so much, Bob, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on the show. Congratulations on the book. We want to hear all about it. Who doesn't want to know what top sellers are doing, especially in the tech business? We hear they're making a gazillion dollars out there. We want to know what's making these men and women tick, right? And what brings them to the top. So tell us about the book and what the motivation was behind writing it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a great program. It impacts so many people. So I'm really honored to be on here with you. I was very fortunate to have a great career in tech sales and so many great mentors and work with so many incredible people that, I had the concept of the book to say, how can I give back to, this community, but also to all salespeople around the world and also small business owners, which I'm very passionate about and spent many years helping as well.
Sure.
And, the book, The President's Club Mindset, really came from the pinnacle of success in tech sales is this idea of earning the trip to President's Club, right? And that's kind of the top of the top, the elite performer. Yep. And what I did in the book was I said, let me go interview 10 elite performers that have combined well over 150 lifetime President's Club trips. And let me really understand from them, along with my own, knowledge, what really made them different? What made them rise to the top? What made them elite and special and able to perform at such a high level? So that was really the inspiration behind it and how I built the book.
That's great. That's great. So let's jump right in here. From your perspective, what separates the salespeople, who finish strong every year versus those that struggle each year, especially as the year wraps up and we're in December right now of 2025, and you've got those that are just trying to get to near the finish line, while the performers out there, the top performers, are not only crossing it, and maybe they crossed it in October and they're just killing it these last couple of months. What separates them?
Exactly. I think it's a few things that I'll mention. One is definitely consistency. I think the top performers across the board, they are consistent day in, day out. They're relentless. Yeah. They do all the small things better than everybody else. They make the extra phone call. They take their attention to detail second to none. They're very curious with their customers. They spend a lot of time in this mode of what I like to call agenda-free listening. Mm-hmm. They listen to their clients. They really understand the pain points. Yeah. And they're very curious about how can I make my customer better, right? And it comes through. When you're curious like that, when you're interested in what's best for your client, it just naturally comes through. And those folks just win more deals and they get more deals across the finish line in their timeline, which I think is really unique in our industry.
Yeah, there's those that just want to kind of get the deal out the door and move on to the next one. And then there's others that you pointed out that have a genuine concern about their, many companies call them their partners, but in reality it's their client. They have a genuine concern about the clients, right? And those are also, they become your raving fans, and they'll tell others in their space, hey, you got to work with my guy or girl, my rep here, because they are just incredible. They take a sincere interest in me and my business, right, to move it forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right, dead on. And I'll add one more thing to that. If you can look through the close, look to the outcome. Yeah. Look at where your customer is going to be, like you just said. Look to make them a raving fan. Yeah. Right? Yep. Focus on that. The close will come. You'll get the close. Yeah. But focus on all those things after that are going to make them successful, and then allow them to talk about you and all the great things you did, and that's going to bring you more clients and more wins and just separate you from everybody else. Sure. But a lot of folks today, especially in tech sales, but I think across the board, they want to focus on that close. They want the deal, right? And they forget about the fact that we got to make the customer successful. And if they focus on that piece, they're going to win a lot more. They're going to be bigger deals, and th're going to be on their timeline. That's right.
We've had a number of people that have come into our company and given us pitches many times, and I don't know if it's that they're inexperienced at selling, or they just sometimes they just don't get it. But when you tell them, hey, you got 90 minutes, come on in, pitch us your product. We're making a decision in this particular area, as is the case with many tech companies out there and SaaS providers and what have you, where they've got to make these pitches. And man, they come in and they hit the ground running telling us how great their product is. Sometimes they never ask us one question about our business. Okay, like they don't even care about our business or what our needs are or where, how best this product might help us move our needle, further forward, I should say. And huge mistake that they make. My wife, who's my partner in business, we look at each other like, wow, they haven't asked us one question. They just went into the feature and benefit of everything that they're selling. And I think also to your point, they're not only are they not listening, they're not even asking, they're not even questioning about our business, right? Big mistake.
It is a big mistake. If I could add something around that, I think that's valuable for the listeners, and I think it's really valuable for small business. I work with a lot of small business over the years and a lot of new sellers, and I call it the 3 whys. And if they can focus in on those things, those questions, I think it'll help them guide them. Mm-hmm. The first one is, why is the customer buying anything at all?
Yeah.
Sort that out. Ask them the questions. Ask them about their business. Ask them what their pain points are.
Sure.
What problem they're trying to solve. Really dissect, why are they buying anything at all? The next part is, which you can get into what your product is why buy from us? Mm-hmm. But look at it from the lens of, how am I solving the problem for the client?
Right.
Then the third part is, to get it on your timeline is, why buy right now? So why am I buying now, right? So getting that compelling event, solving their pain point, solving it in their timeline, making them look good inside their own organization by you really solving a problem for them that's burning. If you can answer those 3 simple questions and think about those when you're entering your sales motion, why buy anything at all? Why buy from us? And why buy right now? Yep. I think the success rate goes way up. And there's all kinds of great methodologies out there, and this, and methodologies and sales processes and everything. But boiling it down to 3 simple things, I think, that hit home can really help out.
I agree. Totally agree. So let me ask you, what does replicating the President's Club performance across teams look like inside of a company?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's really understanding what your unique value prop is to your client. Mm-hmm. So it's getting that messaging down right. It's understanding what the unique value prop is to the client, what is special about what you do, and then allowing the salespeople to really uncover the problems that you're solving, right? Mm-hmm. So what problems are we solving? How do we really return the investment to the client? How do we build that unique value proposition to really differentiate us? But it's connected to the client's pain. It's connected to what you want to solve. Mm-hmm. I think that's what separates it out from everybody else. And, some people just miss on that. You made this point a few minutes ago. They want to come in, they want to sell features and benefits. The problem is with doing that is that the customer's what the customer's concerned about is, how's this going to solve my problem in my environment,
That's
right? You gotta have that sorted out first. Then you can apply, the unique value prop that you're offering, which will include some features and benefits. It's going to be part of it.
Nothing wrong with it, as long as they align with what our needs are as a company. There's no sense telling me that your widget or your SaaS program, whatever it might be, does something that doesn't even apply to our business. So
no, and that's a mistake I see over and over again. Yeah. I see people get in meetings and they start talking about things, and I'm asking myself, why are we discussing this? It doesn't even apply.
Right.
It may be a nice to have, but it doesn't apply to what we're trying to do today. So I think people that are trying to replicate it, people that are replicating it well, because there are companies that are doing it really well, they are very focused on that piece and really engineering, what I call engineering the value for the client.
Yeah, for sure. What behaviors or routines define the most consistent overachievers?
Yeah, I think there's a few things there. It's a great question, but what we see in overachievers for sure is this is going to sound a little bit cliche to folks, but they tend to outwork everybody. They also tend to adopt new technology better than everybody else. It's one of the things I really found when I was doing this book. The elite performers, they adopt technology better than anybody else. They manage and operate and pull together an all-star team to help win their client, right? And they don't necessarily command those resources, but their leadership, the way they conduct themselves, the other people in the organization know they're going to win because they have a consistent track record. Mm-hmm. So they come along with them. They want to be involved in their deals. So that leadership, that teamwork, I mentioned this before, but curiosity was something that came through and through. They're curious about their customers. They're curious about how they can make their customers successful, how they can make individuals successful. And also they're they're very empathetic. They leverage empathy as a strategic advantage. They don't shy away from it because they truly care about the customer's outcome. If you focus, like we said before, if you focus on that outcome, you truly care, that empathy piece comes through, loud and clear.
That's right. That's right. The day of the hardcore salesperson that comes in and just, says, I'm trampling over everybody. I'm going to win. I'm going to make it. It's 2025. Those days are over. You've got to have that empathy for your client, right? And to really become their partner. I know it's an overused term, I think, but to become their partner in the project overall, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's I think that's a true fact of where we're at today. You just can't be the hardcore seller that maybe one point was like that.
That's right. That's right. If you had to pick one thing that you want the reader to leave with, and maybe you've mentioned it already, I don't know, but what would you want that to be?
Yeah, I think it's back to the three questions.
Okay.
Why buy anything?
Yep.
Why buy from us and why buy now? Just simplify your process, simplify what you're doing, simplify how you approach your client, and really try to understand those three things, and you'll win a lot more deals. I mean, there's going to be more to it than that simplicity. But if you dive in, you really understand those three things, I think the opportunity for win a lot more deals.
Yeah.
And just be also a better employee, a better teammate, more consistent performer.
Yep.
Win more awards, all those type of things. I think that's what we saw when we interviewed all these great folks. That's what we really saw shine through, was that consistency.
Right. And always have a good attitude. That's one thing about consistent top performers is when you meet them, you usually walk away from them feeling, wow, this person is they're on 24/7. They got a great attitude. They know that nobody has got the luxury. They can't afford one day of negative thinking. And that's so vitally important, right? Especially in sales.
Yeah, you control your attitude and effort every day, right?
That's right.
You want to get up, you want to make the extra phone call, you want to make the extra sales call, you want to take that a little bit extra prep. All those things you control every day.
That's
right. The best sellers, the ones that get promoted the most, the ones that rise to the top, they do that better than everybody else.
Yeah. My wife often reminds me that your response is your responsibility. So
absolutely.
It's a good line, right? But Bob Kocis, who's a sales leader and an author of an incredible book, The President's Club Mindset, Inside the Winning Strategies of Tech's Most Successful Salespeople, that we can all learn from, whether you're in tech or you're selling cars or you're selling furniture, whatever it might be, these principles still apply. So we're going to make a link right underneath the video that you're watching to get your copy, which I highly recommend you do just that. You will thank me later. And Bob Kocis, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was my honor.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks for watching another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.